My talk today, oops, a daisy. That was not something I expected. Okay, I got it. Yep, I'm good. My talk today is titled Awake, Aware, and Alive. And I wish we could just say, or I wish I could say that you wake up and you stay awake, and you become aware and you stay aware, and then you are alive. And I often ask my students, is this a belief system? But I know right now that my belief system says I do this over and over and over again. So let's talk about these three A's. In fact, as I was working on this talk, I came up with 6 A's. So I'll be adding 3 more to my talk. It was fun. So awake. What do I mean by awake? What do you mean by awake? I don't think I was awake for the first part of my life, actually. To me, being awake means to be in the present moment. It means to be really here and now. There were so many times in my life that I thought I was awake. Used to be when my kids were little, as I've said many times, I was a single parent, so I was working, trying to get them fed and come home and get them bathed and ready for school. And the holidays started coming around. I remember saying to myself, I wish I could just go to sleep and wake up after the holidays. Because, of course, I wanted my kids to have the best Christmas they could. And, of course, charge cards were really easy to get at that time, so I'd have to wake up in January and face the bills. I also was continually trying to do the same Christmas, what would you call them, things that you do, traditions that I had been raised with. And it wasn't working. Wasn't working for me, and it dawned on me one day. This is a sad situation where I want to sleep 1/6 of my life. Of course, at the time, I didn't realize I really was still asleep, and I wanted to be awake. So I said to myself, and this came after I came into this teaching, that I'm a choice. And isn't this what our creative thought was about today? That I was a choice as to how to run my life. I let go of some traditions. I added some of my own. I became more loving instead of making sure my kids had the best gifts in town. So to me, at that time, I thought I was awake and wanted to sleep when actually I was asleep and wanted to be awake. So of course I'm awake, I think, more times than not now. But last week I was driving the 101. And if any of you know, that's not the funnest freeway to drive now. I don't know what's happened. And I was busy thinking about what I had to do and what I was creating in my life and what I should do tomorrow. And I was not awake. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, you better be awake, and your eyes better be on that car in front of you and that car to the side of you if you're going to make it through here. So, of course, even then I had to remind myself to get in the present moment and think about exactly what I was doing in that moment. Another time that I think we're awake is when we're really listening to someone. This is something where a lot of us have to teach ourselves. Are we really 100% with someone when they're talking to us? Or how many times, and I'm guilty of this too, that I'm thinking about what I want to say to that person. Let's get this all going. I have something to say. But to really listen to someone is to be in that moment with them and to be awake to that moment. And of course, you know I like to quote Ernest Holmes. So of course I have a quote here. This is what he says about being awake. We can sit in the shade or move into the sunshine. Sitting in the shadow, we may not really believe that there is any sunshine, but the sun would be there all along. And all the time we are in bondage, the real freedom exists. It is there, but we must awake to it. So it's always there. And of course, it's our choice, our responsibility, you might say, to wake up and be in the sun. So the next A word is aware. And of course, I think we have to be awake to be aware of what's going on in our life. And the first step, of course, is just to be aware of nature. You know, most of our religious and spiritual beliefs comes from philosophies that watch nature, how the planets. I remember when I first studied the planets, to me that was a real symbol that there was something beyond me, that those planets are still going around even after so many years that I started studying them. And nature, the way the trees give of their fruit, and the seeds go into the ground and grow. And the sun sets and the sun rises. It is so good to be aware of these things. So we wake up and we become aware. We also, in this teaching, which I love, of course, in which we all have to find the tools that work for us, I become aware of what is demonstrating it in my life. What is demonstrating it? Say what's in your consciousness, all you have to do is look what's in your life. That's not always fun to do, folks. But the thing about that is we have the freedom to change them. That's the big thing that I like. So we want to become aware of what are we demonstrating? What are we feeling? How are we reacting to a situation? These are all part of being aware. What is our belief system? Are we fatalistic? Is it God's will that these things happen to us? I hear that a lot. And Ernest Holmes used God's will, but in a little different way. When I hear God's will from especially people in other religions, it sounds like we have no choice. It's God's will. And I guess I just have to put up with it. And in this teaching, what is so good is God's will is the volition that we have. We have choices in how we perceive things, how we perceive life, what our part of life is, what is our part in our life, and collectively in the life of this community, and in the collectively part of the universe. What is our part? And there we are at choice. And then when we're awake and aware, and we're thinking, and we're contemplating, we ask ourselves, what are the choices? How do I want to be in my life? What are my choices? And how can I work with those ideas and thoughts to make them demonstrate in our lives? Another question we might ask ourselves during this time of contemplation, do we want to change? Sometimes when my spiritual mind treatments aren't answered, or that's what I say, and when I look deeper, it's because I didn't really want to change that much. So I have to work on other areas to get around to wanting to change. But that's a big question. How do we want to change? Do we want to change? What is our belief system around this change? And that's what's so good about this teaching that I love, is we are given the tools to do the changing. It's not always easy. It's simple, but it's not always easy. So I have some other A's within the aware. And the first one is acceptance. I'm a believer, not in accepting what's out here necessarily, but to accept who I am in any moment. For me, I have to know where I am in this moment and hold the idea that I'm whole, perfect, and complete in this moment, and still, I want to change. But sometimes with positive affirmations, and I love them and they work, but sometimes I hear when I'm trying to give myself a positive affirmation, it's because there's that little voice that says, I don't believe it. So that's the little voice I acknowledge and say it's okay. And I love myself, and I always say warts and all. Because from there, from that point, in this moment, I can make choices to change into this, what I intend to have in my life. So it's holding that dichotomy. That was one of the first things that really made a big jump for me in this teaching, is to realize there are dichotomies here. We sort of have to learn how to live with them, or we have to look at them different. I know that I can be whole, perfect, and complete in this moment, and the same for you, and still want to change. Each step of the way is perfect. There's a word that I used to not use at all because I didn't like, and that was called surrender. When people would say I'm surrendering, I thought, I'm different. That's not what we teach here. We're at choice. We don't have to surrender. I'm not going to wave that white flag around. Well, 6 years ago, I went through sort of one of our moments in life. And the word got softer for me. And to me, it meant surrendering to who I am in this moment. Because what I found is that I was holding on to things I wanted. I wanted to be a ballet dancer. Look at this body. I'm not a ballet dancer. I can do it. But I'm not going to go to where they dance. Julie, where do the ballet dancers? Trish, you know where the ballet dancers dance. And I was okay with that because I didn't have that same desire when I really thought about it. When I accepted where I am and who I am in this moment, it was such a relief and a release. Didn't mean I didn't have plans and didn't have intentions for later on or for the next moment or for the next second in my life. The next A word, so we've got awake, aware, acceptance, and the next word is action. My son used to say to me, Mom, you just think all you have to do is sit in meditation and it will happen. And I said, yes, I do, but not all the time. And doing meditation is a step in action. Even being quiet is a decision that you've made for yourself. That is a step of action. So our words of action don't mean running around like crazy. You can do that too, of course. But it means when you're awake and you've accepted yourself in this moment, now it's time to take some action. Whether that action is contemplation, whether it is talking to a practitioner here and having them support you. It's about setting some good intentions too. so you know which direction you want to take the next step. Emma Curtis Hopkins, of course, you know, I like her too. She says, name your good. Name your good. Don't be afraid to name what you really want in life. And if you listen to conversations, if you just sit sometime and be silent and just listen to the conversation around you, we mostly talk about what we don't have or what is troubling us today. Don't do it. That's right. But that's what you hear. So we name our good. What do we really want in this life, today, in this moment, after accepting who we are now, with whatever is going on in our bodies and whatever? So that's what we do when we take action. Also, action means taking responsibility and coming up with your own revelations about your life. You know, we can stand up here and talk. We can take classes, teach classes. But this is an inner journey. This is an inner journey, and I think that may be sometimes the hardest part. We're not alone because we're supported. There's another A word. I got to work that into my next. No. We're really not alone. We're supported by friends and loved ones, by this community. But the journey itself is one that we have to come from within. And like Indiana Jones takes that first step, sometimes that's all we have to do is take that first step, and the road comes up and meets us. So, this is Ernest Holmes' quote, of course. This is about the self-revelations, which is what I'm talking about now. This is what he says. So far as I am concerned, nothing can exist to me unless I'm aware of it. While I believe in other people's revelations, I am sure only of my own. One cannot doubt that which we know to be so. And why should we deny the evidence of our senses, our reason, and our personal experiences in one field more than another? So we have to trust that inner knowing. We have to trust that what we're doing is the right thing to do for us in this moment, and have the courage to step out. So another A under aware. Awesome. I like this one. We're all awesome. We are awesome just sitting here in this moment. I don't care what's going on in your life. We are awesome. Good, good. Come on, some more amens or whatever you do. This is the knowing the truth of who we are, and knowing we have the freedom, the power, and the choices to be awesome. To be awesome. Amen. And it's having those moments, those aha moments, more and more. We've experienced this. All of us have experienced this, but we just want to experience it more on an ongoing basis. So, the third A is alive. We got alive people here. What is alive to you? Okay, that's what you have to define for yourself. Here we go. This is up to you. You get to define what alive means for you. In your aliveness, are you have love, peace, joy, happiness? Do you wake up each morning saying, a wonderful new day is here? And are you enthusiastic about your life? That's what being alive means to me. Am I doing what I love to do? Am I enthusiastic about coming to the center? Thank you. Yes. So, this is my closing quote from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And this is about spirit, but of course, spirit is who we are. So it's about us too. Spirit is conscious and must be conscious of something, therefore it must always create. Isn't that who we are and what we're doing in our lives? What a glorious concept is such an idea of an eternal creative principle. There is no stagnation in spirit, nor should there be in any of our idea of spirituality. To be spiritual is to create. The spirit is alive, conscious, aware, and active. And so are we. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay, now Reverend Cliff. I have Cliff set on here. I got to figure out what to do. Okay, our prosperity. Come on. Wow. Look at this. Okay, and we have something to read here, so let's read this together. We can hold our gifts in our hand. Mine is down there, and I don't want to walk down the steps again. So. But it's down here, and so it's in my hand too. God is the source of all supply. Money is God in action. What we give, what we receive, multiplied abundantly, all that God is, I am.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of